Injoja sukutu kaninya kasabi kuminya. Kediya Muhammad yana sasu wota atumse. Omanu sebeyeyo, omanu seriyeyo. Eya seta ose, omafu braneche. Omanu sebeyeyo, omanu seriyeyo. Eya seta ose, omafu braneche.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us today, once again, on the Kokromoti Power Show. This is the second edition of the show. I'm your regular host, EMMANUEL, operating live from Shinjuku, Tokyo, Japan. This is Jafric Radio, and if you have joined us on Facebook, do not forget to share and follow the program. Also, bring in your comment as we bring you insightful analysis from Ghana's election process as Ghana goes to the polls. In just 80 days' time, just 8 days, the West African nation goes to the polls to elect a new president and new members of parliament. And on today's edition, we are going to speak to our colleague journalists from the strongholds of the two main leading political parties, the National Democratic Congress and the New Patriotic Party, as well as we will have a communication and public affairs specialist on the show on today's edition. And we also have some news that we're going to bring to you. And don't forget, there has been a controversy or some controversies in Ghana concerning the elections, with the Electoral Commission of Ghana coming out with two statements that some section of the public have expressed concern or sentiments about, especially within the media space, as the EC is saying that there is going to be a limit as to the number of journalists who can access the collation centers for the 2024 election. This has created some heat, and the EC have come out with a publication or a statement to further engage the leadership of the Journalists Association in Ghana. Also, during the course of the week, there was a statement from the Electoral Commission also talking about the shortage of ballot papers in the stronghold of the main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress. We are going to look into this statement and also delve deeper into what is happening within the arena. Don't forget, during the period, the two main contestant candidates, John Dramani Mahama and Dr. Bawumia, have recently met. We'll bring you insight into all these details and then the discussion. So stay tuned, and I'll introduce my guests right after the short break. All right, so we kick off the program with some news updates that has just come in, and on a letter dated the 28th of November 2024, issued by the management of the Ghana Airport Company Limited. I read, it's a press release that really came out, and I read the headline for you. Press release: Ghana Airports collaborates with Ethiopian Airlines for direct flight Kumasi Prempeh, the first international airport. Ghana Airports Company Limited, that is GACL, in collaboration with Ethiopian Airlines, we will operate direct flights from London Gatwick Airport to Kumasi Prempeh, the first international airport, starting December 3, 2024. The flight schedule is as follows. Departure, Gatwick Airport, 2:10 a.m. Arrival, Kumasi Prempeh, the first international airport, 9:05 a.m. Departure, that is moving back from Kumasi to London. The departure time is also Kumasi Prempeh, the first international airport, 11 a.m. and arrival in London Gatwick Airport, 6 p.m. The next flight is scheduled for 15 December 2024 to accommodate the Christmas holidays. Subsequent flight schedules will be published in the coming days. Signed by management, as I said, date 28th of November 2024. Now, Abufinya say, oh, here live on Facebook. Now say, letter me kan ya na say krata me de tu dwe won ti ase am. Na de ye pa kire nyina ne say Ghana Airport Company Limited de krata ba bonten say international airport ya bia no e Kumasi no say o ye Ghana ni na otu kwan na so wo the Northern Belt efi Kumasi ko fabro ne hafoko the northern regions no ho ba bia na se wo tu kwan akọ London abrochi mama na se England na enwu hia so obekọ nkran ubetimi aye on krata process on krata ni nyina dia fa Kumasi because they say Kumasi prempe the first international airport near bia no our flight go pretty from Kumasi to London straight and be free London so ba Kumasi into we obi a o ti Kumasi na free Kumasi na odwuma bi dia pese obi kodu Kumasi ntem nyina dia fa Kumasi Tomako Tamale any those places ni bia na hu hia so be ba be dun kan no asan fa bus na asan fa flight e dia ko Kumasi enti sese no sa bia no ya bia no ho na enene nkra Ghana Management of Ghana Airport Company Limited e dia ba betu bia na owi awie ye na yense ebre kra no na I will shift straight to my colleagues in within the media space and the guest on the program the kind is Godfred Buduyeboa. He is based in Kumasi, that the stronghold of a new patriotic party and the NPP, who have the incumbent, the vice president for the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, running on the ticket of the NPP. And now if we say the candidate, the main leading candidate in show up in the Ashanti region, that's the stronghold of the new patriotic party, the NPP. And Godfred has been a seasoned journalist working across all sectors. When I say all sectors, I mean all sectors, and it's well versed in issues. And Godfred will help us to do the discussion in the Ashanti region as to what is happening with just 8 days to the elections. And don't forget, if you are joining us from Johannesburg, South Africa, Lagos from Nigeria, wherever you have joined us from, Cairo, Egypt, on the African continent, this is Jafric Radio, and this is the Kokromoti Power Show. Today, the spotlight is on Ghana, where the elections, the general elections to elect a new president and new members of parliament is taking place. And I'm your regular host of the show, Emmanuel Frempong. And Godfred, good morning from Ghana. Here is good evening. Thank you very much for joining us.
Very much, bro, for having me on your show.
With 8 days to go, and for the main elections in Ghana, how has been the euphoria and the atmosphere in Kumasi?
Well, I think Kumasi hasn't been bad. In the should I say in the past 2 3 weeks. Initially, the euphoria was very down. Ever since ex-President Kufuor's public endorsement of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the spirit of the Kumasi folks has been stirred now, and now they are actually waiting for the D-Day to cast their votes for the new patriotic party. But there is one significant thing I have observed. Unlike before, where we used to have parties, hosting large political regional rallies in each regions. Now I have seen
Mm,
a shift from that pattern. Now they no longer host huge political rallies in the regional capitals. Now
mm,
it's down to the constituency levels, and so you
mm,
see huge masses of gather at a political rally,
mm.
unlike before. You get me? It's been
Okay.
brought down to the constituency level, and you see pockets people gather at one place with a parliamentary candidate or and a senior executive political party
Of
talking
the
to them,
political
convincing
party.
them on why they will vote for them. So the euphoria in Kumasi for the past 3 weeks since ex-president forced endorsement of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been first time I've seen this in, let's say, in a year or two, because the before President Kufuor's public endorsement of Dr. Bawumia, there was a voter party in Kumasi, but that has since changed since President Kufuor's public endorsement. And we've had the NPP party been in Kumasi the past 3 weeks with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He left for Accra. He'll be back again to also continue with the campaign. The end have been in
Mm,
Kumasi for the past 2 weeks, but John Mahama them to and to continue with the campaign because Sami Jemfi, the Sedun Ketias have been in town for the past
mm,
2 weeks, and they'll be having their flag bearer John Mahama joining them today. So Thursday, that's 5th December, to wrap
mm.
up their region.
Godfrey, thank you very much for this initial insight. Don't forget you have joined us. This is live, Jafet Radio live operating from Shinjuku, Tokyo. And we are sharing the spotlight on Ghana because the West African nation goes to the polls in just 8 days' time to elect a new president and new members of parliament. And the man you just heard is Godfrey Yeboah Budu. He's a journalist based in the Ashanti region, the stronghold of the New Patriotic Party, and he's sharing insight. Godfrey, back to you. There's a page on Facebook which has very resounding engagement. The Ashanti Nation, with over 200,000 followers, and if you look at the engagement, it looks very very good. There is something that I noticed during the course of the week. There was a particular post that drew a lot of engagement and attention, and it looks like people are not really happy with what is happening in terms of the commissioning of interchanges in various parts of the country, and they feel that this current administration has not really focused their attention on Kumasi in terms of the distribution of these interchanges. And I'll read for you some portion of the statement that was written on that particular platform. I'm reading this because this is the stronghold of the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, and I want you to tell us whether the mood is similar to what has been echoed on Facebook. And the Ashanti Nation writes, I need development, no status. The Ashanti to the Ashanti Regional Mensa. A government has used 8 years to commission more than 15 interchanges and flyovers in Accra and Tamale. Yet, just 2 interchanges in Kumasi and Takrady, you didn't complete. Kumasi, the second largest city in Ghana and the party stronghold, you promised us 5 interchanges. You couldn't complete just one for us. Go to Swami and see the dusty and unnecessary traffic people are going through. A project that you could have done it long ago. Maybe you would have been commissioning it like the ones in Accra. You are now doing it, buying unnecessary traffic for commuters. Then they go on and on and on and on, letting a number of things or agitating about things that they are not happy with the NPP in the Ashanti region. Do you sense these same things on the ground from the stronghold of the New Patriotic Party?
Yes, Achako, if you would recall, in my earlier submission, mentioned
Mm,
that there was a voter apart until President Kufuor's public endorsement of Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. There was actually a voter in Kumasi. You joined, I mean, this market women on trotros. I mean, could feel the kind of, I mean, disgust they actually had for this political because they think this is the NPP stronghold, and NPP can only boast of two regions who have since time immemorial been, I mean, very loyal to the party. Talk of the Ashanti, talk of
mm,
the Ashanti in the eastern region, unlike the other
mm,
regions. These two regions have been very loyal to the cause of the NPP, but the Ashanti region feels alienated. I mean, developmental projects. The other regions
mm,
aren't even as loyal as they the region
mm,
are enjoying. So before President Kufuor's endorsement, people didn't say they were going to vote for the NDC or vote for the Butterfly Party. I mean, the President Alan Chairman thing. But they were saying they
Alancha
were only going
Martin's
to cast
party.
their votes. They said they weren't going to cast their vote because even should they queue for hours to cast their votes, they're going to
Mm,
benefit directly from any government AP was sharing among the other. So yes, like you did as espoused by the Facebook assassination, there was
mm,
actually a voter apathy. I think that situation has since changed since President Kufuor's, I mean, public endorsement of
mm,
Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. But that said, but so whether that can translate into votes on the 7th of December is together because people do not live from a
mm.
national cake or development.
Yeah.
I am not so sure if they can vote if they know that they won't benefit from this thing directly. So, in as much as things have changed in the last 3 weeks in Kumasi, I am also certain if that can translate, because in the last election, the NPP recorded over 76% of votes in the Ashanti region. They won 76, NPDC at 21%. Out of the 2 million, over 2 million votes in the Ashanti, this NPP had over 1.5 million votes in the region. So if they are not getting direct benefit of developments, you and I will know you by all means they will be disgruntled. And that is what we are experiencing. But it has changed, at least from media commentaries we read on Facebook, social media platforms, and also the engagement on radio at the public. It seems a situation has changed. President Kofo's public endorsement about Bawumia, and Kofo has also been on the ground campaigning for the canvas for votes for the party. And last week he was at the Ashman project on the grounds, and he was trying to raise the electorate vote for his party, the Democratic Party. But whether they will be convinced what the elders is saying is also another thing as it will ponder over.
Mm. Godfred, I will stay with you. Thank you very much for that particular insight. I will stay with you. But if you are watching the program live on Facebook, don't forget to share, bring in your comments so that we can do proper engagement here. Don't forget the program is proudly sponsored by Bayside Modeling Agency, Mama Efe Saloon at Todacoin, Saitama. So you can kindly make your bookings at the salon and go for a beautiful hairstyle. You can contact them on 090-830-11149. So that is the information from our sponsors and our partners for this particular show. Godfred, last week I spoke to some of your colleague journalists and I asked them the same question. At some point, the issue of Galamsey became one of the main headlines or the much talk about topic in the heat lead up to the elections about 2-3 months ago. I still want to find out, are people in the Ashanti region still concerned about Galamsey, that is polluting Ghana's waters, that is destroying Ghana's farmlands, and it's causing a lot of havoc to Ghanaians? Is it still a talking point? Is it still one of the main headline issues in Kumasi with just 8 days to the election? Is it a cause of worry for the main, the leading political party now, the incumbent party, the New Patriotic Party, that if they don't resolve the issue of Galamsey, it's going to affect their vote in the Ashanti region?
Unfortunately, the situation is different now, and we don't have people, as it were, registering their displeasure against the government for the continuum, uh, I mean, action of the environment by way of galamsey or illegal mining. We actually do not feel it. And one thing is, this thing that has been politicized is something that is being done by both, major parties. You get me? I was fortunate to have my national environment agency in Kokromoti 2010, and then it was it is now the now opposition party, the NDC, who were in power then, and I was privy to some information about some part of the party also involved in this activity. This galamsey thing that we want to politicize is something that is a bit uh, both people from the main political device are into this, into this.
Mm.
So
Mm.
they can't actually stick their necks to um, say they are into this, to stop this, activity, to safeguard the
Mm.
environment. It's very tactical based, and both the NPP and DC. So this talk about, yes, it generated a lot of razzmatazz some weeks before, but the situation or the tension has really, really died down, and has, should I say, 1 month or so. So this talk about Galamsey.
Okay. At this point, I'll try to connect with Tilda Elena Makolo, who works with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation's branch in the Volta region. Tilda, good evening from Tokyo, Japan. Hello, Tilda, can you hear us? Tilda, it looks like Tilda is speaking, but her sound. I don't know if the producer can work on Tilda's sound for us. Um, Hello, Tilda, can you hear us?
Her mic is off.
Uh, Tilda, can you please check your microphone? Can you please check your microphone settings, and then let me revert back to you. Whilst Tilda resolve, you try to resolve the issues with Tilda's connectivity. I want to take us through, and this one I will stay with you, Godfrey. The statement that was released by the Electoral Commission
Okay.
of Ghana, because this strictly borders on issues with journalism and the media. On the 27th of November 2024, the Electoral Commission of Ghana, in a letter signed by Samuel Tete, Deputy Chairman in charge of operations, the letter reads, I don't know if the producer can put it on the screen for us. So the other letter, please, the one that talk about media accreditation to collation centers. Um, so the headline of the letter is media accreditation to collation centers. So I read, since the memo directing the commission staff at the district and regional levels to select media houses for accreditation to its collation centers was made public, the commission has received numerous calls from members of its media partners expressing concerns about the quotas granted to the media houses. As a listening commission, we are engaging with the leadership of the Ghana Journalists Association and the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA, on the issue, and trust that we will arrive at an arrangement that is both workable and acceptable. The commission is keen on ensuring the highest level of transparency in its operations, hence the opening up of all its constituencies, regional and national collation centers to the media. In doing so, the commission is mindful of the need to ensure orderly and peaceful process at the collation centers, hence the quote number of persons who can access the collation centers at any given time. The commission is confident that the engagement with the leadership of GJA and GIBA will lead to acceptable outcome. Thank you. Signed, Samuel Tete, Deputy Chair in charge of operations. Godfred, you are a journalist. How do you take this
Yeah.
statement?
Well, I think their resolve to us is to reconsider their earlier statement as extra direction, because this is very, very important to every Ghanaian, both home and if one of the ways to disseminate information in media. So if the number of media at this collation center is going to be limited in a certain way, affect the accuracy of information we send out on this particular day, and that good for the country, because there have been instances where one wrong media reportage a particular country or particular country into something. So the media is a very important stakeholder in this election. So I believe, just as the release espoused, I mean, they should reconsider that they are they can, I mean, give a very data to each media house, because in Kumasi, we have over 150 media houses, I mean, radio stations in Kumasi. Accra should even be more than that. So if you are saying each media outlet to maybe two or three to just throw two or three accreditations at their collation centers, I think gain of harmony, which shouldn't be, because a lot of people have invested in this election. I know that a lot of media houses have trained their, their staff, their reporters on what to do on this election day. So with all these investments, if they can't get the best out there, I mean, they a bad business or something, so which would work for the growth of that particular media outlet. So I think with the statement you just read out, and with what I've just read, and since this release came out, I think the EC, I think I've done well in trying to, liaise with the independent broadcasters and the several other um, journalists to bring this back to a close. I think they are doing well with this new development, and I think this should have been the case earlier, but I don't know what brought about their element. But with this new development, I think I will side with them because we need to have every media at their coalition center at least once it can contain them. I think they should be allowed to, as it were, do their work so that they can curate report to the masses. Hello? Hello?
Welcome back onto the show. Sorry for that, a little bit of a technical glitch. We are back, and Godfred was making a point. Godfred, please, let's continue with the point. Hello, Godfred. Godfred, can you hear me? Okay, looks like Godfred will try to raise Godfred back on the line. If you have joined us live on Jeffrey Radio, this is the Kokromoti Power Show,
Yeah,
the second
Atrapo.
edition of the. Yes, Godfred can hear me now. So, Godfred,
Okay, so
you were making a
like I
point.
was saying, I think it is a step in the right direction because um, a lot of, I mean, these media outlets have been really invested. Yeah, Atrapo.
I can hear you now. I can hear you. Please go ahead. Godfred, please proceed. I can hear you.
Okay, so can I. So, like I did mention earlier, uh, okay, like I did mention earlier, I think this step by the EC is a step in the right direction because a lot of media houses have really invested in their staff. I mean, as in the reporters, to carry out a very good job within this period, within this electioneering period, and you can't sit in your office as an electoral commissioner to, as it were, prevent them from doing what is rightfully, I mean, theirs to do. Do you get me? So
Godfred,
if
do you think that
there
the
is a
initial
way
attempt was a
to, as
stamp
it
on
were,
media
I
freedom?
mean, sit at a
Does the
round
media in
table and
Ghana
have
consider?
a discussion that will set, I mean, give each media outlet a certain quota or certain number of accredited, I mean, personnel. Obviously, I don't disagree. It was a stamp on media freedom. Could you come back? I can hardly hear you.
I was asking whether the initial attempt from the Electoral Commission of Ghana represent a kowtowing, try to get the media to kowtow to their whims and caprices, and actually refers to, or you could consider it as a stamp on media freedom. Hello, Godfred. Hello, Godfred. Or it looks like we don't have Godfred on the line anymore, and we will try to reconnect and raise him back on the line. At this point, Tilda, we are also trying to connect with Tilda Akolo Elinam, a journalist who works with Volta Star Radio, a subsidiary of Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and she is in the stronghold of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, who are trying to topple the MPP from power in the December 7, 2024 elections. And we are trying to connect to her for her to give us the latest update from the Volta region as the party gears up for the elections. It's one of the most anticipated elections in Ghana. Don't forget, it is 8-2 in Tokyo, Japan, and 11-2 in Ghana as we speak now. And in a brief moment, we will try to connect to a communications and public affairs analyst, Mr. Godfred Teriagogo, who has been a key watcher of political affairs programs in Ghana, as he will share with us his insight going into next week's election in Ghana. Godfred Buduyabua, can you please hear us? Hello, Godfred. So we will end the session here with the journalist and try to connect with the communications and public affairs analyst, Mr. Godfred Teriagogo. Godfred Teriagogo, welcome to Jafric Radio Japan. Hello, Gogo. Hello, Gogo. All right, welcome back. This is Jafric Radio operating live from Shinjuku, Tokyo, Japan. And as I said earlier today, we are sharing the spotlight on Ghana as the West African nation goes to the polls in just 8 days' time to elect new president and new members of parliament to steer the affairs of the nation. Earlier on, I spoke to media representative from the Ashanti region, Mr. Godfred Yabuabudu, who gave us insights about happenings in the Ashanti region. And it looks like we still have Godfred Yabuabudu on the line. Godfred, I was taking your final word. I'm going to take your final words on the media and the statement that came out of the Electoral Commission concern. So the Electoral Commission, in a statement, said they were going to reconsider the earlier stance at it that the earlier release has generated some concerns among members of the media. So they are going to take a second look at their decision again. Does this bring some level of relief for journalists, you and your colleague journalists in Ghana who are going to hoping to report on issues relating to elections to Ghanaians?
Well, I think it's a step in the right direction because there is no way the electoral commission can restrict the media in discharging their duties. You know how very important the media is, and the electoral
Mm,
commission's recent actions regarding media access centers actually raised serious concerns about their decision making process and their claim of being a listening institution. So I think if they think, they are saying they are a listening institution and they would give a reconsider. I think we have no option than to, as it were, wait for them to actually spell out they have for the media because recent actions actually speaks uh, to not actually speak well of them because this election means a lot
mm,
to Ghanaians and they watching on their part can actually do for this particular country and they cannot afford to make mistakes repeated and if they really be settled, they should do so and they must make sure and issue out the media accreditation tax early so that the media outlets send their reporters out to before because I understand the media is actually voting on Monday. Do you get me? So, a lot of
mm,
these things must be out in time so that the media start preparing for next week Saturday and the days
mm,
that follows.
mm. Godfred
Because I
Yeboah
believe
Budu. Godfred Yeboah Budu, thank you very much for joining us from the Ashanti region and all the insights you have given us. We are most grateful for your time and we hope to connect to you next week again as the elections take place in Ghana. So thank you very much. At this point, I will try to bring in Godfred Yeboah, Godfred Teriagogo from Accra. He is a communications and public affairs analyst. And don't forget that if you are watching the program, this is Jafric Radio Live, and this is the Kokromoti Power Show. Don't forget the program is proudly sponsored by Bayside Modeling Agency and Mama Efe Saloon in Tokyo, in Saitama. So if you want to have a very nice hairstyle, please visit the salon of Mama Efe Saloon in Saitama. And as I've already mentioned the contact numbers to you, and you can contact them. Godfred, Gogo, good morning in Ghana. Hello, Gogo.
His mic is off.
Hello, Achakun, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, good morning.
Yes, I can. Morning.
It's actually evening here in Tokyo, but it's morning in Ghana. How is the political atmosphere in Ghana with just
Well,
roughly 8 days going into the elections?
thanks very much, and regards to my colleagues on the phone, and thank you for inviting to this show. It is a given that as we inch closer to the election day, the stakes will be higher, by the day, and so it is as we speak. The two leading political parties are trying to dot their I's and cross their T's in the final laps of their campaigns. What I see now is that unlike previous years where they would gather people at one location to engage them in big ways, this time around, the campaign has mostly been retail, where you have the various candidates, touching down with the voters, where I think that it makes for more, personal touch, asking questions, getting to feel what the people really feel on the ground, and I think that's laudable. That's very laudable.
If you are watching us live on Jafric Radio, please kindly share, bring in your comment, and we will read them live on the program for you. We are currently speaking to Mr. Godfred Teriagogo, a communications and public affairs analyst in Ghana. Godfred is a graduate from the Ghana Institute of Journalism, now UNIMAC, and the University of Ghana, where he holds a master's degree in public affairs. And Godfred, I want to bring you into the discussion on the. It seems there's some bit of heat in Ghana. I don't know if the producer can put this letter from the Electoral Commission on the screen for us. There's a letter dated 28th of November 2024 issued by the Electoral Commission of Ghana, signed by the Deputy Chairman in charge of corporate affairs, Mr. Samuel. In charge of operations, rather, Mr. Samuel Tete. And the letter reads, the headline, shortfall on ballot papers. It is addressed to the representative of all presidential candidates, Accra. Dear Sir, shortfall on ballot papers. I bring you warm greetings from the Electoral Commission and trust that this letter finds you well. The Electoral Commission has identified some shortfalls on presidential and parliamentary ballot papers for Keita, Ketu North, Ho Central, Hohoi, and Whole West constituencies in the Volta region. The shortfalls will be printed by the arts commercials. Political parties and independent presidential candidates are to provide 2 representatives each to observe the printing process on Friday, 29th November 2024 at 10 a.m. at the premises of the Arts Commercial Printing House, Accra. Please find attached the shortfall ballot papers to be printed. Thank you. Yours faithfully, signed, Samuel Tete, Deputy Chairman in charge of operations. For the chairperson, that's for Jane Mensah, and copy to the Deputy Chairman in charge of corporate services. And this particular there's some level of controversy and heat within Ghana. And our colleague journalist, now an Esquire, Richard the last guy who works with all, I don't know, still works with City FM, wrote on his Facebook page. I don't know if the producer can also put that on the screen for us. And the statement read, respectfully, I must express profound dismay regarding the ballot paper shortage in part of the Volta region. The Electoral Commission bears a singular responsibility to ensure impeccable accuracy throughout this electoral season, thereby fostering public confidence in the democratic process. That we have witnessed 2 significant missteps within a fortnight, particularly affecting the opposition strongholds, raises grave concerns about the Commission's procedural rigor and attention to detail. Whilst it is somehow reassuring that the shortfalls have been identified and remedial measures are underway, these missteps warrant a comprehensive investigation where appropriate sanctions must be considered and applied. As such oversight strikes at the very foundation of our democratic principles. Equally troubling is the whimsical and unacceptable directive concerning limits on the media access. As I publicly demanded yesterday, that directive must be properly and publicly withdrawn immediately without any condition. It is not enough to urge calm on the foundation that some consultation with stakeholders is going on. As a public affairs analyst, Godfred, how do you see this step from the Electoral Commission, coupled with the statement that was also released on the 27th of November 2024? I've already read this, but since you were not on, let me bring this to your attention. Media accreditation to coalition centers. Since the memo directing the Commission staff at the district and regional levels to select media houses for accreditation to its coalition centers was made public, the Commission has received calls from a number of its media partners expressing concerns about the quotas granted to the media houses. As a listening commission, we are engaging with leadership of the Ghana Journalists Association, the GJ, and the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA, on the issue, and trust that we will arrive at an arrangement that is both workable and acceptable. The Commission is keen on ensuring the highest level of transparency in its operations, hence, the opening up of all its constituencies, regional and national collation centers to the media. In doing so, the Commission is mindful of the need to ensure an orderly and peaceful process at all collation centers, hence the quota on the number of persons who can access the collation centers at any given time. The Commission is confident that its engagement with the leadership of GJA and TIBA will lead to acceptable outcomes. Thank you. The same man, Samuel Tete, Deputy Chairperson or Chairman in charge of operations, signed this letter. Godfred, how is the public responding to this?
Let me state from the very outset that I think that there's a deficit in stakeholder engagement as far as this particular issue is concerned. I thought that the Electoral Commission, working with such very interested stakeholders in a high stakes election as we have, would conduct when take such very important with far-reaching ramifications. So I think that it doesn't look too good. The election should be up and doing as far as stakeholder engagement is concerned, so that we can get the people involved in some of the decisions that come out of the Electoral Commission. Be that as it may, I think that they have heeded to the calls by the public, and I'm sure that the Electoral Commission now, by the letter you just read, is actually ceding to some of these pressures to relook at the particular decision they took regarding media accreditation for the election.
Godfred, let me hold you on there. We spoke to some journalists earlier on the program, and a particular journalist from the Ashanti region, based in Kumasi, Godfred Budiabua, made the point that the media is supposed to vote on Monday. So if you're a media person and you are accredited to cover the elections, or you are waiting for a resolution to know whether you're going to have the accreditation to cover the elections or not, don't you think that the time space for the EC to resolve all these issues are not going to affect the entire process?
Not at all. Not at all. What I think is that, as I said, they're going to arrange with the top officials of GIBA and other media institutions. The rank and file of our media fraternity can then go ahead to exercise their franchise on Monday. So I don't think that is a problem at all. If anything at all, it is a progressive step.
Okay. And on the issue of the shortage of ballot papers that I read earlier, and the statement from Richard de la Sky, how does it reflect within the public space, especially looking at the fact that it is affecting the stronghold of the main opposition party?
My first reaction was that of an alarm. I think I was alarmed when I read the letter from the Electoral Commission. However, I take solace in the fact that they want to remedy the situation as quickly as possible. If we waited until election day and then found out these are normal in some of the ballots, your guess will be as good as mine. But as we have seen and realized that it is very early in the day, and that this anomaly has been realized, I think that we should thank God for it, because especially issues to strongholds of both political parties, either of them would then try to read meanings into an otherwise genuine, the Electoral Commission. So I think that the Electoral Commission has to be very careful. And these are becoming one too many. We need to be extra diligent and meticulous, as far as our work is concerned. And I think that the Electoral Commission, with the number of years of experience managing our elections, I think that some of these mistakes, they should have been gone past. I call on the Electoral Commission to be meticulous the next time, so that we don't leave room for other meanings to be read into perhaps another otherwise genuine oversight. So the public was alarmed, but I think that the remedy that they've put in place should suffice and to get us a peaceful, transparent, and fair elections come December 7th.
Wilfred, you are a public affairs analyst, and this has been your rhyme. You've also been a political watcher for some period of time. Don't you think this one and two, someone will say too many missteps, will lead to at some point the public having lack of confidence in the electoral commission, even if it makes genuine mistakes during the re-election process when the elections is taking place, and maybe there's a genuine mistake? Don't you think this 1-2 missteps is going to process the minds of the public to somehow believe that this is deliberate, because hey, these are the guys, they made this, and maybe it's deliberate on their part? Don't you think it's going to get the public to react in that particular line?
Exactly the point I made, that once the mistakes become repetitive, we have no other option than to say that no, this is becoming a deliberation by somebody to perhaps, serve a certain end. And that's why I called on the Electoral Commission. Their quality assurance machine has to be activated if it is already not, so that anything they churn out to the public would have gone through the process of quality assurance, and then it will come out squeaky clean for people to have confidence in you that you can manage our election devoid of such petty and unavoidable mistakes. So I think that there is something to be done about their quality assurance machine, and they must work on that immediately, so that it will bolster our confidence in them and make us think that we are really paying for quality work from our electoral officials. That's what I think.
Okay, Godfred. This time around, in previous elections within this Fourth Republic, we've seen many opinion polls come out predicting who is going to win and who is not going to win. Many of them used to come in the past. This time around, I've seen just one opinion polls from the Institute of Progressive Governance and predict the victory for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. If you can please give us a little bit of insight on the various opinion polls that normally come, and if it has not come this time around, what are the possible reasons why the various opinion polls that used to come? We used to have the one from Beneficence. We used to have many opinion polls coming, flooding the media space and also into the public space, trying to influence voting. I mean, the floating voters. This time around, is there a consistency in that trend, or there's a gap? And if it has not happened like it used to happen in years back, in many elections back, why? What are the reasons that you can attribute to this lack of opinion polls?
Okay, so we have had a copy already from the Global Info Analytics. We have had one from Fitch Solutions. We have had another from Professor Masapon of the Kumasi Technical University. You alluded to just one list just last week as well. So there have been a couple of opinions, each pointing to a certain submit that the most attractive is the elections of the mass. Have been a lot of talk from both political traditions or persuasions. Once it goes for it points to a certain direction, there will be hula baloo about it and all that. So I think that yes, they are doing a great job. As social scientists, I think that some of these things help in the decision-making process of some of our.
What are the majority of the opinion polls? What are they saying?
The ones I have seen, I think there's a tie. Two and Mahama, taking the lead, and other two are actually pointing to Dr. Baumia taking the lead.
And that one includes the one from
our
the
posters right
Institute of
now.
Progressive Governance.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. And then for Sapon, sticking their neck actually for Dr. Baumia, and then Global Info Analytics and a couple of them also ascribing win to former President Mahama. Just like what we have some of the prophets do, speaking different, languages as far as the direction of the election is concerned. Our posters are also doing same, and therefore I, without prejudice to the credibility of any of them, I want to state that the most credible opinion poll is December 7th. Let's wait for that one.
Godfred, you are a public affairs analyst, and this question I've already asked every journalist who has been on the program, but your domain is quite different. You watch the public and then you analyze issues that is dear and close to their heart. The issue of Galamsey, about 3-4 months ago, became very dominant within the media space in Ghana. There was even a demonstration that was organized on the streets of Accra. Some people were arrested, and there was a whole lot of noise about it. Just a day to the elections, almost every journalist that I've spoken to tells me or tells Jafric Radio that the issues of Galamsey is no longer a talking point. It's not one of the headlines issues in the electoral discussions. Nobody is talking about it. Does this represent, one, a disappointment within the media fraternity in Ghana? Because an issue as pertinent and important as Galamsey, that is wreaking havoc on our farmlands, that is wreaking havoc on water bodies in Ghana, that is, in fact, endangering the very future of Ghana. The media has ceased to talk about it, and it is not featuring in any, that's according to the media personnel that we have spoken to or we have engaged on a show. It's not featuring on the agenda, or it's not one of the main talking points of the elections, just 8 days before Ghana goes to the polls. What is it? Is the public disappointed? Is it a reflection of disappointment in the entire process? Hello, Godfred. Hello, Godfred.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now. What I'm saying is that I have very interesting views on this Galamsey issue. One,
okay. We would like to hear them.
The political parties have realized that there are a lot of votes within the Galamsey ecosystem. And therefore, the narrative around this particular menace is carefully calculated so as not to incur the wrath of these over 4 million people within the Galamsey system. So the lack of sustenance of the advocacy from civil society as well is also very telling, and that's a reflection of what we currently have. Thirdly, I think that the Galamsey issue as we see is bigger than what we see perhaps in Accra and other capital cities around the country. There are a whole chain within the Galamsey ecosystem, and all these people would fight against any move by government to take them out of business. Because if you go to the Galamsey areas, there are these miners, there are the financiers, there are women who sell food, to these Galamsey guys and all that. There's a whole work around this particular thing. And therefore, the fight must not be left only to government. I think that traditional leaders, religious leaders, society, the perpetrators of these illegal acts themselves would have to come to the realization we are actually signing our death warrants as far as this Galamsey issue is concerned. So yes, the lack of sustenance of the message around Galamsey is as a result of the political nature this particular
Well, that was Godfred Yeboagogo. All too soon, time is up for us to draw the curtains down on the program. And this is the second edition of the Kokromoti Power Show, which is focusing solely on the elections in Ghana. If you join the program from Abuja, if you join from Johannesburg, South Africa, if you join from Egypt, Cairo, wherever you join us from, this is Jafric Radio, operating live from Shinjuku, Tokyo. And we are still looking into the issues that are relevant and important to Ghanaians as the West African nation goes into the polls to elect a new president and new members of parliament to steer the affairs of the West African nation. Thank you very much for joining us for today's edition. Don't forget the program is proudly sponsored by Bayside Modeling Agency and Mama Efe Saloon. If you want to get a beautiful hairstyle, if you want to look nice and attractive, visit Mama Efe's Saloon at Todacoin in Saitama. Please contact them on 090. You can contact Mama Efe Saloon on 090 8311 830 I repeat the numbers again. 090 8330 Contact them for your beautiful hairstyle. So this is where we draw the curtains down on the program. This has been Jafric Radio. This has been the Kokromoti Power Show, where we delve into the issues. Today, we'll be speaking to three individuals, two journalists, one from the Ashanti region, one from the Volta region. Unfortunately, Tilda Akolo couldn't join us for the show, but we had some time with Godfred Tewia Gogo, communications and public affairs specialist. Don't forget the issues that are relevant to elections are all being brought to the fore here. Until we come your way again, please stay tuned and like Jafric Radio. I think there are some comments that we need to read for our viewers on the show. So I'll quickly dash to Facebook and read the comments that came on the show for you. down. We are wrapping up the program for today, and some of the comments that came our way came from Sedu Yaya and from Bibini Kofi. So next week we promise to bring you the comment and all your submissions on the show. So thank you for joining the program live. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing and bringing in your comment. Until we meet again, take care and stay blessed.